We have Lorien, who is a high elf wizard. We have
They're a bard
Falminar.
trapped in a wizard's body.
That's right. We have Falminar, the half elf fighter. We have Archimus, the tiefling bard. And we have Sandro, the human monk. And you are all together in one place. And then we have Cedric, the human. What is he again? He's a human druid. And then we have Nim, which is the drow ranger. And they are in a separate location. Your characters never met Cedric yet. And Nim you knew back in Port Firth. She went missing when she went chasing after a strange man who she was talking to in a tavern. You haven't seen her since. You were all you were all looking to get to the estate, which you were written off in the will. Lorien inherited all of the material belongings within the estate, and Nim, who went missing, inherited the estate itself. You know that this estate is deep in the northern Dwalin mountain range, so you found the quickest transportation you could there. And Captain Rianth allowed you aboard his ship. He was very cold and took your money very quickly to have you aboard. And as you were aboard, you were snooping about and saw a few things about what was going on below deck. And you have reason to believe that there may be some kind of captives below deck. I can't remember if you figured out if there were captives and what the purpose of those captives were.
Captives that were being sold to cultists to be sacrificed.
Very good. That brings us up to speed. You're also with Kurdu Strongback, your dwarven guide. He's a mountaineer guide. He's native to the region, and he also a porter and mountaineer. And you heard a little bit about his brother. His brother?
Slave in the mines, yes.
His brother is Dwali Steelback, who is all the way in Ivestad as a slave in the mines there. That is far to the northeast. And he did give one of you the ring. I believe it was Ring of Message who you guys gave maybe to Falminar. I think he has that.
Yeah. Yes. I think we gave it to the one non-magical person other than me. So.
Right. So he should be able to use that as many times as he like a day. And it is a magical ring. Alright, and so far you've seen a few people on board. Let's recap those very quickly. You've seen... one second here. You've met Fabian Lefrey, who is the gnome. He's sleeping in the chair. You have Tumagu. You don't really know the rest of her name or what her purpose is, but she's the half-orc who entered your cabin to check up on you. You have Captain Rianth, who you've met, the man who's in charge of the ship. And you've also met Fallon Foam Tankard, who is the dwarf with a steely glare. He doesn't seem to like most of you. It is storming, and it is just before dawn, at least so you perceive. You know that you will be approaching the destination in due time, probably a couple hours, maybe less than a couple hours. But it is indeed still storming. All right, let's pick up from there.
Okay.
Well, Sandro, I'm a lover, not a fighter. How do you think we should go about this thing, anyway?
Honestly, I'm not entirely sure. I think if we land, we make some kind of distraction and we get them off the boat and they just kind of make a break for it.
They seemed incredibly weak to me. I'm not sure if they can make a break for anything. Also, they're all chained up. Also, they're locked behind a door. So we'd have to get them out of the heavy chains attached to some heavy ass wood and get through the locked door and get these incredibly weak, close to death people off of the ship without any of the crew noticing.
Hmm. I think
How do
that's
we
a.
even.
I'm not entirely. I'm not the one for making plans. I haven't really had to deal with a hostage situation, so
I mean, I'm more the love 'em and leave 'em, not the keep 'em and sacrifice them to some demonic god type. Uh,
yeah, we can't just leave them.
well, no, obviously not.
Kurdu Steelback leans forward in the candlelight as he puts back his clothes after exposing his scars. And he says, "You were talking about the proposition of waiting till we met land to strike.
Yeah.
But that
In
means there will be cultists there. There will be even more of them.
Gerda, do you know how to sail a ship, darling?
Don't have experience on the sea, but on the mountains I'm another beast altogether."
Right, well, unless we can teleport the ship to the mountains, what would we do if we fought out at sea and killed everyone that knows how to sail a ship?
Hmm. Uh, this is the first time I've ever really been on a boat, so I'm kind of out.
I know the big white flappy things make the big wood thing go, and the wheel turns it. But that's about all I know. I mean, honestly, there was on the ship over to town. There was this lovely, lovely wench. She was an excellent cook and very nimble in many other ways, and I was quite distracted. I did not take the time to learn how to sail. I mean, goodness me, sailing a ship, really. So, do you even know how to what do they call it? Weigh anchor. And can you just drop that thing anywhere? I mean, I'm willing to bet that that chain is only so long. Like we can't just. Oh, okay. Well, let's stop here. It's only 3 miles or however long to the bottom of the ocean. What happens if you drop that heavy anchor and there isn't even any bottom for it to hit? Does it just tilt the whole boat? We all go pouring up. I really don't know.
I
Lorian, you spent some time above deck. Were you able to
Yeah.
see how many sailors there were and if they were working in collaboration with these slavers?
Well, I saw a few. They seem to just be doing their job. But, I'd really wonder how they wouldn't know what was going on. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, how do you hide 12 people from an entire ship's crew? And would anybody really keep it to themselves if they objected?
You're probably right. Can't tell you how many times I saw complacency while I was in chains myself. What do you think,
Eh.
Sandro?
Uh, I feel like any man on this ship is aware of what's being done here. Maybe
It only
not of his own free will, but who knows? I'm not
it only took me
sure.
one night, in the middle of a storm, where things were plenty loud, to hear the weeping. How would you not hear the weeping?
My only concern is some of these men, maybe they're forced to work here and they don't want to, and then we end up tossing them overboard or jailing them.
One of you mentioned a strong magic on this ship, and then it went away.
Yes.
Perhaps that was concealing something. Perhaps it was illusory.
Perhaps. Perhaps. I don't really know. I mean, there are a lot more of them than there are of us. I think, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think we need to kill them. At least the ones that are clearly slavers. Maybe if while doing that we make it clear why, if anybody has a conscience, they join us. But I wouldn't trust that. You know what I mean? And I can't help but think it might be good to get the jump on them. Because standing there, puffing our chests out, heroically saying, "You stop, evildoer, slaver," is a good way to get a dagger in the eye. You know what I mean? So, honestly, we're fucked. But I say we, do our best to unfuck the situation. What do you think, Sandro?
Uh, hmm. Again, I'm not entirely sure. I'll follow your lead, but I'd rather not kill anybody. Knock them unconscious, tie them up maybe, but I don't want to do that to somebody.
Okay, so let me just make this a little clear to you. From what I heard when I mind spoke with the slaves that are down there below decks, these people are going to sell these 12 people to be sacrificed by an evil cult, probably to create some big malevolent malignant magic, perhaps perhaps like the giant crystals that we saw that destroyed the cathedral, something like that, but maybe even worse, which might get even more people killed. So, well, I admire your desire to knock people out and tie them up. I mean, goodness, who doesn't enjoy a little bit of that from time to time? I don't think we can have that level of delicacy in this matter. You know what I mean? There's a lot at stake. There are many innocent lives at stake. And sometimes you have to get your little hands a little bloody. Unless you think you can go out there and knock out 7 or 8 people and tie them up without just getting your full self killed. If you can do that, then please, by all means.
I mean, we could lure some of them separately. Looking at these sailors, how physically able do they look compared to like me or this dwarf with this? What I've seen.
Curtis Steelback also speaks up as you say that. And he says, "Do you remember where they all were standing? Do you remember where each of these slavers were on the top deck?"
Honestly, it's been like a month.
And that's what an intelligence roll is for. So please do that in the electronic bar on the right.
Both of us are
just her, because she's the only one who scouted.
Yeah, I was just kind of meditating on the front of the ship, just thinking.
Okay, an intelligence roll. So I just click on just straight int, not a saving throw. Just
correct.
Straight int roll. Okay, let's see. Oh shit! I forgot how to do this.
Go to the character sheet and just click on it.
There we go.
Excellent. That's a very good roll. So
yes,
you remember
finally.
that Captain Rianth was behind the wheel. From what you perceive, he was a human captain. You don't know what his other skills and professions were. The gnome was wearing robes, and he was sitting in a chair, sleeping under a little awning to protect himself from the rain to the captain's left. The dwarf was nowhere to be seen, and the half-orc was nowhere to be seen. However, you do remember a few other figures working away at the ropes and just sort of tending to the ship, sweeping the top deck, things like that. Just keeping things out of the rain. But you could tell that they weren't the dwarf or the half-orc. You think that they were humans, based on their height, or perhaps half-elves. But you would tell if they were big enough to be the half-orc or short enough to be the dwarf, and they were somewhere in between most of the rest of the crew.
Were they really healthy and buff looking? Or could I not
You,
really tell?
even with that good intelligence roll, and even with a sharp memory that you have of the situation, they were wearing mostly cloaks to protect themselves from the rain, so you couldn't really tell too much about their physique other than their height.
Hey,
Hey, welcome.
sorry I'm late. I fell. So,
Oh, no problem at all. So we did a quick recap so far, and your character hasn't met those characters yet, and we'll get to your turn in just a moment, Cedric. Thank you for joining us. So yes, that's what you remember, Lorien, of the situation. And just pull up, Cedric, pull up roll 20 in the meantime.
Well,
Well, you know what we could do? So, I remember that the captain was at the wheel.
yeah.
I remember that the gnome was sitting in a chair,
All right.
sleeping under a tarp to get out of the rain. There were like 3 or 4 crew members working the ropes and sweeping the decks and the like. They seemed humanish, maybe half elf. They were under cloaks. I couldn't really get a good read on their physique. The half orc and that incredibly cheerful dwarf, I am going to assume, are somewhere below decks at the moment. So perhaps we could stroll over, have a chat with the captain, asking where we might end up, weighing anchor. Have Fowl casually walk over to the gnome, and then on my mind speech signal, Fowl can toss the gnome. I mean, he's right near the edge of the ship. Toss him off. Hold a dagger to the captain's throat. Make him sail the ship in and order the crew to weigh anchor. Hold him captive, perhaps.
How is that any different than just weighing anchor and normally? 'Cause we're still weighing anchor at the same place, are we not?
Well, no, we can have him just stop wherever we want him to. You have a
Oh,
dagger at his throat. So then we wouldn't be meeting up with the cultists. We'd have a hostage.
weigh anchor about a couple miles down coast or something.
Yes, exactly. Not that any of us know exactly. I look to our guide. Do you know exactly where we're going to be weighing anchor by any chance, and where we should not weigh anchor? Because we could tell him to pull in someplace far from where he's going. He could still go exactly where he was planning to go. And how the fuck would we know?
Gertrude Steelback thinks for a moment, and then says, I overheard some of the sailors' top deck, while I was waiting for you to board, say something about a very rocky shore. So there must be a very specific area. I don't know too much about the sea, as I said, but I predict that they'll be going where the mountains have a pass. So I know the general area as to where they will be pulling to shore, but I don't know where the rocks are.
So maybe we should avoid where the rocks are. All right. Let me think. You know, I can make myself look like someone else.
So at that thought, we're going to switch over to Cedric for a moment. Cedric, you awake. You awake to the sound of rain pattering on the floorboards above you. You awake on the ship. The ship is rocking gently, but you don't hear the froth of the waves splashing against the ship. You sense that you are anchored. Make a perception roll, please. If you indeed are there. There you go. 23. Excellent roll. We're getting some
Nice.
high rolls today. So you sense that it is just before dawn, and it's raining. You know that in this region of the world, that when dawn hits, it tends to disperse the clouds a little bit. So you're expecting the rain to start to lighten up very shortly. You don't necessarily see the morning's glow yet, but you know that the moonlight and the clouds are kind of showing you that it's almost time for sunrise. And you think you hear footsteps aboard, but the footsteps are hushed and they're quiet. They're almost as if someone is trying to move about without making too much noise. And you don't hear the snoring of the other men that might have been resting on the ship as they were on the first night of your journey.
And because it's just the one, below deck, right?
You are below deck, correct, and it's one area below deck, and you were sort of resting in a hammock behind a whole bunch of barrels and bags, just to kind of muffle the sounds a bit when you went to sleep. So you're a little bit out of the way behind some of the old stores. So you may look above those and take a look at the rest of the lower deck, should you choose to.
Sure. Is anyone else actually down here?
So along with that same perception roll, you see that the chair which Nim was tied to and which was being interrogated is empty. You see that there are ropes and shackles on the floor where that chair was, and a little bit of blood, but there's no one to be seen. And with your very high perception, you also notice that all of the furs and the ropes and the gear that was stored by all the food and the vegetables are gone. Somebody took them from the lower deck. It seems like whoever was using that gear moved out.
Left. Alright, whatever. Quick.
Your voice is lagging just a little bit. Say that again.
I have to check my email real quick for something.
Okay, well, we're going to bounce back to the other group. Back to the other ship in the other part of the sea. We're back to Sandro and Lorien.
All right. We'll why don't we just go up top and go up on deck and see what's going on? Because they don't suspect anything yet. I don't believe. So.
Well, hold on. I can make myself look
Oh yeah.
like somebody else. That, oh, I wish I had some platform boots. That half-orc, lady,
She seemed nice.
she's what?
She seemed nice.
Yeah, well, I kind of wish we'd invited her in, to be honest with you. That probably would have been smart.
So
I'm just-
before we go ahead, I'm just going to interrupt. So just to make you aware, disguise self, I think, is handled differently by different DMs. Now, I think the spell can make you look differently, but to look exactly like someone else, I think is handled differently by different DMs. I will say that in our campaign, if you choose to look like a specific person, you may not look perfectly like them, but you will look as close to them as perhaps your memory will allow. I'm just putting that out there moving forward, just to find a bit of a balance there.
That gets covered by the there's like you have to make like a wisdom check if they're suspicious, and that would fall into that, I think.
Right. Well, the wisdom check, or whatever the check is more so to see if it's an illusion or not. But to make yourself look as accurately as a specific person, we're going to leave on however well you can remember their look. So, for example, if you saw someone in passing briefly when you were multitasking, you might not have as good a memory as someone who you know very well and talk to every day, for example. But yeah, anyway, that being said, I just wanted to just make that clear because every DM does it a little differently.
All right. So here's what we'll do. I will put on this lovely winter cloak that we acquired. Actually, that I purchased. Now that I think about it.
Do you have disguise self or alter self?
Disguise self.
Oh, you don't even need to put on anything. You can just make it look like you're wearing it.
That's right. You can even make your clothes look different too, or your hair, your body type to a degree.
Not where you need different clothes.
Yeah, that's
correct.
true.
And
that's
alter
true.
self, you can't disguise yourself like someone else at all. Alter self is more, you can change your bodily features. Like, say you need to punch someone, you can turn your hands into like stumps of like hardened, like chitin or something. But anyway, yeah, go on.
So I'll stand really near the captain, but sort of lean and make it look like I'm looking out over the water a little bit behind him. Right. Fall will casually make his way to the gnome. I will be ready, however, with a knife in my pocket. You can ask how long before we hit land and start asking him details about the area that it's in. Just come up with a lot of annoying ass questions about the details of where we're going to land down, and ask him if there's an inn nearby or a settlement or any place where we can go have a drink, spend some coin, which might be interesting and useful information anyway. If he knows of anything, a farm, a settlement that we can take those people to once we do save them, that would probably be good, because I can guarantee you those people are not capable of climbing through the mountains. That's
Oh
not
God.
happening. No, and we're not
That's-
just dumping them off at shore. They'll die of
No, I'm not.
exposure and weakness in the wilderness. We can't
I'll
do
say we should
that.
dump them off on shore. But yeah, all right. I got the plan. When do I need to? Is there gonna be a signal when I need to do something, or are you just gonna
I'm
just
going
do
to
something?
I am going to mind speech to Fowl to grab the gnome at the same time I come around and hold the knife to the captain's throat.
All right, and I just keep man off you, hold him back, distract him.
Yeah, well, be ready in case the gnome wakes up, or Fowl doesn't manage to toss him, or things go sideways, which they inevitably do. Be ready for a fight, but let's hope that we don't have to do one.
All right.
Does that sound?
Yep. I sounds like your plan.
All right, let's go. Ugh. Try to live. Yes. And with that rousing speech, I cast my disguise self spell and make myself look as much like that half-orc chick as possible. And I say, "You go first to talk to him, so he's distracted by you when I come
Should we
walking
make
over."
sure the half orc lady's preoccupied so you don't just walk up on her?
But I mean, she's below decks as far as I know. You should definitely let me know quietly if she has come back above decks, all right?
All right.
So Kurdu looks at both of you with an expression that says, "What should I do?"
Kurdu, can you fight?
I.
Ah, well, then I guess you're coming with us.
Just stand near me, I guess, or halfway between me and the elf. And then if something happens, you just go to their aid or my aid.
If
Very
things
well.
don't go well, we're gonna have a hell of a fight on our hands. If they do go well, it's still going to be very difficult and tricky. But the more strength in numbers we have, the more hesitant perhaps the crew will be to take us on. We don't know what motivates them, after all.
Very
Okay.
well.
So, I gesture at the door to Sandro and what's his name? Artemis.
Artemis.
Yes, the tiefling bard. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're going to be controlling Falminar's movements, Ev.
Okay. All right. I don't have
Falminar agrees to the plan and agrees to stand very close to you. Or he's going to go to the gnome, that is.
Yes, he's gonna try to do
Do
some
you want
gnome
me to
tossing.
control the tiefling?
I'll control the tiefling for now.
Okay.
You're gonna have to do Foul's rolls though.
Right,
There you
right.
go.
Yep. I'll do everything. I sometimes it's easier to choose IRL dice, and sometimes if it's like a dramatic roll that's like a life or death situation, I'll do that on the actual sidebar, so it's not like fudged or anything. You guys can see the raw roll.
Roll.
Yeah, raw.
All right.
Okay, so move to your respective positions. Remind me, where did you want the tiefling to go? He agrees to the plan as well.
So let's set up where we are first, and then basically, so I'm by the captain, right?
You're in front of the
Right.
captain.
I'm like over here. Should I shrink myself down, or how are we doing the sizing? So I look too big.
Yeah, if you can shrink it down. I don't know if you can.
I can't.
Okay, I'm trying to find you. You're the. Where did you go? I can't. Oh, there you
I'm
are.
up by
Yeah.
the captain. There.
You are human, not dwarf. That's why I made you a little bit bigger. But yeah, Falminar should be the biggest human. I mean, the biggest character, I think.
Yeah, my guy's a
This
small.
is Falminar, right?
He looks like a really malnourished
Yes.
dwarf, I guess, is what he. So, I'll be here. Falminar will be there. Let's put Artemis over there,
All right.
so you can cover the other stairs.
While they're talking to the captain, asking inane questions, I'm gonna try to be like behind the captain at his wheel, like staring out on the back, looking like I'm kind of there to get his back. But my hood is down low because of the storm, and I just sort of nod at him as I pass by. Hopefully.
Okay.
Whenever I can start talking to the captain, let me know.
And we got our dwarf. We got our dwarf. He should be like standing there too, because he's the guide. You know.
The dwarf should be over by the bard, I think, then, so that'll cover most of the area. So we'll have like the dwarf here and then the bard here.
Sandro, make a perception roll.
13.
And Falminar, or I'll roll for Falminar.
Okay.
And
Oh.
it's okay. And Lorien also roll. Yeah. You see the tiefling. You see Artemis. I'm sorry, Artemis is not. Is Artemis is? Hold on, I'm getting confused now. Artemis
Artemis
is
is
not.
a tiefling.
He's not here. He's not here physically, like actually here. Okay.
He's the one that's gonna be late.
That's
I'll message him right now, so-
no problem at all. So I'm actually controlling Artemis here. Now, only Lorien notices this. It is raining and you're all very tense because you're about to attempt a very daring mutiny against a very dangerous group of individuals who are
Yes.
potentially slavers, and you're not in your own element. You
And I
do
forgot
notice,
to make a backup character. Shit.
Like this is the first time Sandra's ever seen the ocean. She just has no idea
Interesting.
what the fuck's
That's
going
really
on.
cool. That's really cool. And yeah, you also sense that Kurdish Steelback is like he prefers being on land to sea. He's a full on traditional dwarf, and he's an expert of the mountains. But anyway, that being said, Lorien only notices Lorien is the only one who notices that the tiefling seems to be staring at the captain in the dark, and he seems to be muttering some arcane words to himself. I'm going to cast something.
Oh my god.
Oh, that is big text.
Oh, detect thoughts. He has detect thoughts?
And
Our timetable
so
just went up.
and so you see Artemis concentrating on whatever spell he may have cast on the captain. Now we're going to go back to Cedric. Cedric, it is your move. What would you like to do?
Okay.
You're back, and just for any viewers of the video and whatnot, you're in a completely different location on a different ship.
Alright, but you said we're not moving or anything, or at least it doesn't feel like it.
You are an expert with ships, and you can tell that you are either completely still, which is unlikely, or anchored somewhere and still bobbing in the sea.
All the stuff is gone. Do I have all my stuff?
You have all your stuff, yes.
Okay, cool.
I meant all the stuff that you saw under deck below, like the
Yeah, just all
grappling
that
hooks,
stuff
the
was...
rope, the furs. Yeah.
I don't know these guys, so... There's blood over by the chair. Can I try to sneakily kind of look outside onto the main deck? See if it's... something's going on? If
You can
anyone's
creep.
there?
You can definitely creep up the stairs and peek up if you'd like, or there's also a few areas of cargo netting that you can maybe push up a little bit and see the top deck. It's your choice which you choose to do. And then I would roll a stealth and then a perception for that.
Do the cargo
All right.
option. Dale? Hmm.
All right. You see, you very stealthily push the netting up just enough to see top deck, and you're below deck. It's fairly dark. It's still fairly dark outside. You see what you think you see one or two orcs walking on top deck, and they seem to be scouring the top deck, looking around. You're not sure what they're looking for or
Did
who
we
they're
have
with.
any orcs?
There were no half orcs in the crew, let alone orcs. These orcs are wearing traditional tribal orc gear. They are of the wild, from what you can perceive. These do not look anything like the Silk Strands crew that you were with. These appear to be trespassing on the boat the way they're walking.
Okay, very much not good.
You also see no sign of any of the previous crew. No dead
There's
bodies,
just
no
nothing.
living bodies, nothing.
Okay.
Make one more perception roll, please. Okay.
Okay, lower and lower.
So, that is the situation you're in.
Okay. What can I shape into?
Oh,
What?
nothing. Nothing. I forgot to turn off safe search.
Is it raining?
It is raining lightly, not as heavy as it was when you were at sea. It's still somewhat cloudy though, so it's dark and a little rainy. Dawn's light hasn't quite come over the crest of the horizon yet.
I would like to. Do I still have hair? Another one. Okay.
I'm sorry, your mic cut. Do you have what?
Can I ritual cast detect magic?
Ritual cast. How long would that?
That
Is a ritual cast? It's longer than normal cast, correct?
Yeah.
Visual cast
So
is 10 minutes.
10 minutes and 6 seconds.
You can attempt to ritual cast. Yes, you can.
Find like a little spot. I
You
might not
definitely
get
can.
down.
I would say the most secure spot that you see, that you know of, was where you were sleeping, the little hammock behind the bags and barrels, which is sort of
Yeah.
in the port of the ship, in below deck. You found kind of the quietest place that they would allow you to stay, out of their way, out of the crew's way. So that's where you were.
All right, back over there to ritual cast that then.
Very well. In the meantime, we're going to jump back to the rest of the adventurers getting in position. So let me just get this straight. We have Lorien is behind the captain. We have
Disguised as the half-orc woman, yes.
right. I'd like you to do an intelligence roll to see how your memory was on her, please.
Oh.
We have Falminar moseying
Alright.
up to the. Okay, you remember her fairly well. I'm gonna actually shoot the image to the team here so you can see. Um, where did I put her? Here we go.
Ooh, I'm thick.
In a
Nice.
moment, putting up. All right. Let's see. Then we have Falminar moseying on over to the sleeping gnome, and then we have Sandro walking with Falminar, and then we have Kurdu is kind of lower deck here in case these sailors want to do anything. And then where did we want to have Artemis, was it? Artemis. Oh, Artemis is already...
Basically mirrored from where I am.
Artemis is actually standing there at the moment. He may have gone a little off the plan, and he's just like doing some magic on the captain. At least that's what Lorien perceived.
Yeah.
So, I mean, look, the captain, you see the captain look around. I mean, he's steering the ship, but he notices the three of you. He notices the three of you coming up to the top deck. And you can tell that this guy, he's not thick. I mean, he's a cold, calculated man based on the deal that you've made.
Mm-hmm.
He turns to Lorien. He turns to Lorien. One moment, let me check. He says, "Where's Lily? Where's your pet mouse, Lily?"
I pointed in my pocket.
She enjoy the cheese I gave you.
Turn my head and tilt it like I'm thinking, what?
He waves you off. And let's see, we're gonna have Sandro make Artemis. I'm getting all fucking confused. No, Sandro make a perception roll.
Perception, you say?
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, you guys are getting some killer rolls.
Finally.
So I'm gonna share the gnome picture since you're looking right at him. He's sleeping here, just to refresh your memory. Well, first here's the captain.
I'm gonna just. Can I ready in action just punch a motherfucker if they do something? That's.
In a moment, let me just share
Okay.
your perception roll first here. Let's see.
Oh my god. That's a no.
That's right. I'm not sure if you were here last session. Were you? I can't remember. But yeah,
I believe I was.
Yeah, so that's the gnome who's sleeping. You see him with his robe, and he's got a staff. He's got a pair of goggles on, and he's just sort of sleeping there in a chair. And he's got those cool looking gauntlet gloves on and everything. And they appear to be leather, though. In the picture, it's hard to tell what they are, but they're just sort of like really cool leather gloves. And he's sort of sleeping, you know. And who else do we have? You notice maybe you see about 4 crew members top deck. No, you see three crew members top deck, and you also notice that steely-faced dwarf coming out of the shadows. You're not really sure where he came from. But that's where he just sort of. He's sort of patrolling the top deck, and it's very shadowy. You don't know if he came out of a door frame or under like a wood deck or behind the sail or what, but he does notice you, and he is sort of slowly making his way top deck. He's not like running or anything. He's just sort of making his way up that way.
Okay, so is this where I start my line of just bullshit questions here? Just
Yeah, ask, hey, is there
What?
any, where are we, yeah, like, we already talked about
hey, Captain.
He turns to you and just looks at you with that face.
Where are we? Where are we planning to set way anchor?
Never you
What's the word?
mind.
There any inns or anything nearby?
No.
Uh, you he's just Sandra's kind of sitting there. He wasn't ready for this.
I cast my mind speech, my message to Fowl.
Uh,
Toss the gnome. And
well,
so I give Fowl the order to toss the gnome.
At that, we must all roll initiative right now.
Right.
Snap.
Where is the initiative roll
between
anyway?
your armor class and your speed.
Oh shit! I got.
Aw, fuck.
Oh ho ho!
Oh, snap.
Shit! Yeah.
Okay, so that roll was for Falminar. Now I'm going to roll for Archimus.
But shouldn't Falminar start the combat with his action though?
The thing is, no.
Oh damn!
I'm gonna
Try.
I'm gonna roll for some of these NPCs with natural dice because I just prefer that. Let me see here. Okay, 1 second, just a moment. So out of the
who here
players,
is-
let's see here. Yeah, go ahead.
Who here is friend and who is foe down in this bottom right area? Because I know one of these dwarves is ours, right?
So the dwarf with the battle axe, he doesn't actually have a battle axe. He has a, let me see, I'm looking at the thing here. He's actually got a hand axe, but the image, he has a battle axe. And then the dwarf with the mace is Kurdush Strong.
So this guy is our guy.
This guy is our guy, and this is oh, I can't make a little bleep thing. Why can't I make a bleep thing?
I don't know.
The purple and white and brown drow-looking guy with the sword is ours. That's a tiefling.
That's the tiefling bard. Yes, correct.
Mm.
Okay, so the tiefling got initiative 7. Falminar got a 10, and then we have all the others.
Sandra got a 20 and I got a 19.
So starting off with a, let me write these. So that's Sandro.
If you open the turn tracker first before you roll, it'll automatically add it for you.
I know, I'm old school. I'd scribble on paper.
Yeah.
And then we had that one and that one. So we're going to start off with Sandro's turn. Now, some of these people may or may not have been surprise attacked, which means if someone is surprise attacked, they have no action on their turn. Some of these NPCs may or may not have been surprise attacked based on their levels of consciousness and their readied actions, which they may or may not have had. Just going forward, saying that. Now we will start with Sandro though. He did roll the highest.
So I understand that it's go time, right? Like,
do you?
Well, you didn't get a message, did you? I don't know. Maybe.
Okay. Well, I figured because you said we roll for initiative. So
I'll tell you what. You do see Falminar making a very quick movement toward the dwarf. I'll say that much. That is the initiative, correct? So you're aware that it's combat time.
Fuck. I'm trying to think. We didn't really figure out who I'd fuck with. I'm just gonna go punch the shit out of the captain then. Just run up and just. So, just gonna punch him. I'm gonna punch him again. I'm gonna flurry of blows. I'm gonna punch him again.
Well, hang on.
I'm gonna wear him down so the wizard can come in and just take him.
So the captain actually had a readied action. First, I just want to see something on this character sheet.
Okay.
This is so bad. This is such a dumb plan.
The captain was extremely So you perceive the captain to be extremely suspicious of like all of you coming top deck, and he was like,
All you.
you imagine that he was about to kick you all off the top deck already, anyways. So, okay, his ready to action is not very friendly. So he does an instantaneous. He instantly turns to you, instantly, as you start motioning toward him, and you're running toward him, and he had the sense that you're a monk based on sort of your movements and how you look. This man has been around, and this man has seen
monk pants.
And yeah. So as you're running toward him, this captain, I mean, he gives. I don't want to say too much about what's going on intrinsically because that's sort of meta, but you guys paid already. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're disposable crew to this motherfucker, and he's got fucking slaves on his ship. He doesn't give a shit about human life. He immediately turns to you and instantaneously blasts a wave of thunderous force. So you're going to need to make a Constitution saving throw right now. A blast of thunderous force erupts from his hands.
Okay. So I got a 6.
Oh my! Oh my! Oh my! So here's what's happened.
Plan your next
Here's what
characters,
happens.
boys.
So I'm actually going to give you an opportunity to make a very important roll. So I'm just saying that right now. I don't know if you have inspiration or what.
I do have inspiration still. I'm
But
saving it.
before you're physically moved, because you're going to be thrown toward the sea, and it depends on how quick your hands are. But before anything happens, you're taking 2d8 thunder damage from this thunderous blast. It's thunder wave in case you want to know the details. But yes, thunder wave. This sound is so loud that the sound just echoes for 300 feet in all directions. Now. Some people may perceive that to be lightning, or thunder rather, because you are in a storm. However, it does sound like a massive blast of thunder. So roll 2d8. I don't know if you did that already.
I need to roll 2d8?
I can do it. You can do it.
Okay.
Whichever. I'll do it.
Yeah.
What is it again? Is it / Remind me. Is it just roll? I always forget.
There's like a little dice icon.
It's just like /roll 2d8.
You know, you got the dice
Like
icon.
that without the S. It's it's just.
Alright, so you're taking 11 damage right off the bat.
Okay.
And then you will be blasted 10 feet, which is actually, these grid marks are not accurate. So it'll blast you just over the edge of the ship. I need you to make a dexterity saving throw to grab onto either a rope or the edge of the ship. Now, okay, 18, very good. You actually grab one of those, you see those little ropes over there? You actually are not on the ship, but you're dangling on there's these ropes that are hanging low. You are now actually hanging on those over the sea is choppy and it's nighttime. That is a place you don't want to go. Let me see here. I'm reading.
I have 50 feet of movement, so I can clear a lot of ground.
I'm seeing if you're able to move after taking that. It appears that you can actually move. You're not stunned in any way, according to the spell. So yes, you can attempt a strength roll. Or no, I'm gonna make an athletics roll to pull yourself back onto the ship and thrust yourself back onto it.
How many is inspiration? How many is my inspiration?
Inspiration is something. No, inspiration is something you have to use beforehand. It's something you have to use beforehand.
No!
But, listen.
Was that a natural one?
If it was. Oh shit! It was a one, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's why I was like, I want to use my inspiration.
Oh my.
Oh no!
Oh my. Oh my.
No, not good.
Oh my. You fall into the sea.
Well, the ship is moving. Oh,
You are your round ends as you're touching the water. So we'll see what happens. Next, whose turn is it? So you rolled a 20. Next, it is Lorian's turn. Lorian, you see all this happen. You don't have to make a perception roll. You see this happen as you are taking your turn. So this is happening as you are. Go ahead.
Right.
What do you do?
Because I have the next turn. I'm right behind the captain, so I whip around and try and thrust a knife at his throat while grabbing and yell, "Everyone stop, or he dies!" But let's see how that actually goes. So what should
Okay.
I roll for that?
So you're not attempting to actually cut him. You're attempting to grapple him, is what I understand.
Well, put a knife to his throat and grab him, but you know.
That would
yeah.
be because that wouldn't be an attack then. That would be a grapple. A
Okay.
grapple. Because if you're trying to control him and grapple him without actually cutting him, that is not an attack. That is. I mean, it's an attack, but it's a grapple attack. It's not a.
I mean,
attack
but
with
isn't
your
it the sharpness of the blade that would stop him from struggling rather than my strength at holding him?
No, it would be the strength of the blade. I mean, the strength of your strength of your grapple. Essentially, it's a grapple. You're trying to grapple him. I mean,
Okay.
to hold a blade to somebody is one hand free. You're trying to grapple him with one hand and hold the blade to him. I mean, if he successfully breaks out of the grapple, then he has control of your wrist with the knife. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know what weapon are you using in this attack, anyways. I
My
need to
my
know.
dagger.
Okay,
Yeah,
so you have a dagger. Is this a regular dagger, or is it having? Because I'm not keeping track of all you guys' items, so you gotta help me do that.
It's
So
a regular ass dagger. Yep.
Okay, very well. So I need you to make a grapple attack. Let me see how that works. I think it's a strength move. Let me check it.
Oh no.
It's an athletics check, or it's an athletics check versus their athletics or acrobatics, I believe.
Copy that. Okay, so that's a 2. That's a natural. No, that was the other. That was his roll. So you make an athletics roll. I'm gonna roll here based on this guy's stats.
Oh!
Doesn't
Natural
even
20.
matter.
Natural fucking 20.
Natural
Fuck
20.
Yeah.
Now I will say
Wizard wins with strength.
I will say no, he doesn't necessarily win. I haven't rolled yet, and this guy has a
Oh,
+3
what?
on his grapple. So let me see. I'm gonna roll it right now. He actually got 17. You actually grapple him successfully. For this turn, I mean, grapple is an every turn type of thing. It's a battle of strength. So you do have him grappled. Let me move your token up there. He's
Oh,
currently
you didn't see
immobilized.
The monk
Alright,
just
I'm
sprints
pressing
up
the
and
knife.
blasts it off the ship.
Yeah.
Holds the knife to his
Yes.
neck.
Those are
I'm
capitalized.
So
I'm
that
holding
that
the knife like up against his throat pretty hard.
now that thunder wave, I hate to break it to you, but it completely woke that gnome up. Now the gnome is startled, but now it's actually Lorian's turn, but the gnome became awake from the thunderblast. This is all happening simultaneously. So Falminar is trying to go ahead with a grapple because that's what his plan was. So I'm gonna do a grapple, an athletics roll. One moment.
I can't believe I rolled that.
Oh!
Ooh.
Nice.
Is that an
Now-
athletic?
Not
Now
a
keep in
nat.
mind.
Is athletics
Now
bonus
keep in mind this dude is pretty buff. Like he's a fighter and he's like just like flexing. And this is a gnome.
Does he efficiency athletics, or
Let me pull it up again. Let me see his
is that just a
stats.
strength check?
Oh, I'm sorry. I did strength, not athletics. Sorry for the false awesome roll. Let me see. My bad.
Well, I mean, you just add his proficiency, right?
Okay.
Yeah,
You can
yeah,
take
the
that.
athletics, the athletics
It's got
roll.
the same roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, same roll with the same. I think. Yeah. Man, the rolls are like sometimes they're so low. This game, they're all like in the 20s, except for that one.
For now.
Except for that one that like was gonna save you from falling off. I'll be honest with you,
No,
like
we gotta.
I don't know what's gonna happen to you, man. Like sometimes there's questions that the DM has no answer for. I don't know what's gonna happen
There's-
to you.
A natural
live.
1 followed by a natural 20 is pretty fucking
Both for
amazing,
athletics,
actually.
though.
Yes.
So Falminar actually does pick up the gnome, and throw him into the sea.
Just like
Number 2.
Cool.
So these two are actually like in the sea next to each other, and they're ready to throw down in the ocean.
Yes.
Okay. Next, let me take a look at the settings here. I'm gonna streamline some of this NPC bullshit. Here we go. Next is who do we have next? Actually, it is the gnome's turn next. Let me have a look at his shit. 1 second.
just
I
lay
have
it over.
6
Wait,
minutes
so?
before I have to leave, so.
Understood.
Now,
Understood.
hold on just a minute. We're both about to drown. Just as the gnome lands next to me.
Jump off. Jump off the gnome.
Use them as a boogie board.
Yeah. Just surf on the gnome.
Gnome surfing.
All right, let's see here. I'm taking a look at this. He's got all this crazy shit.
Things are just getting good, and I have to go to my fucking appointment.
It's got very intense very fast.
He's just fucking struggling to swim at this point. He can't really like. He's just fucking trying to swim, man. Next is yeah. Okay, so that you don't know what's happening because you guys don't see that happening. Okay, next the captain is going to make a athletics roll to try to break out, and you're going to contest that. Is that a strength save or is it athletics? If he's trying to break out of a grapple.
With grapple, it's always athletics. If they're already grabbed.
Okay, let me make that roll for the captain, and in the meantime, you can make your opposing roll.
So you got to make another athletics check.
What? Oh, me?
So I'll
Me?
tell you right now, the captain has a 20, which is insane. He rolled a 17 with a +3 on top of that, so that's.
Get it.
I don't
20.
think I'm.
I'm sorry.
Get
I'm
it.
sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That was his grapple. Actually, no, he only has a flat 17 because I rolled a grapple roll. So you actually just got it by 1 point. So you've kept him in the grapple. Next we have.
Are people still fighting? Because I yelled at them to all stop, or the captain would get his throat slit.
I mean, right now, all you have is the gnome who's thrown off, the captain who's struggling, and then you have. Okay, so now we're actually getting to the sailors because all the sailors are kind of back to back with their initiatives. The sailors are all kind of just like. I mean, actually, each of you make a perception roll to see what you see because it is raining and it's dark, and you guys are top deck, like in combat and shit. And, like one of you's
I'm
not
in
even
the
on
ocean.
Yeah,
Well,
you
I
can't
can't
see.
see
You can't even
shit.
see. You can't see anything, dude. You're just trying to like survive right now. And the ship is moving fairly quickly, so like, if your teammates don't do something to help you, like, I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you, dude.
Is it my turn? I mean, can I like yell something in my turn?
Not your turn yet. You went.
Oh,
You went
okay.
second. You went second. You can actually. You guys can talk at any point during the turns. By the way, just so you know,
Okay, well,
talking
I mean,
can
I'm-
happen at any time. So I assume you're yelling it repeatedly to make yourself heard.
I'm yelling, stand down, or the captain dies.
Right.
We
so
know about
you,
slaves. Weigh the anchor now.
You're not
won't
really
allow
sure.
To die.
Understood. So you can only see a little bit of the top deck with that perception roll. A lot's going on. You're struggling with the captain. You saw your friend get thrown off the ship. So you just see some movement below deck, but you don't hear the clamoring of any blades and everything yet. All you hear is just clamoring, but you're just making yourself known as you're struggling. Now we're going to move on to the bard here, Archimus.
Alright.
He is actually going to advance his spell. He actually is maintaining the spell as the captain has struggled, which is Detect Thoughts. We have to do a Battle of Wills. So I don't know if you know how Detect Thoughts work, but if he chooses to probe deeper into captain's mind, he can actually get more information. So let's see. The captain has to make a saving throw against his DC. Remind me how that works, Sandra, while I do the captain's
It's 8
will roll.
plus your proficiency bonus plus your wisdom for the save DC. Not plus your wisdom, plus your spellcasting, whatever. So it.
So 8 plus his wisdom modifier, so that would be,
No, his
that would be
wisdom.
9.
His charisma. Whatever his spellcasting is. Whatever his spellcasting is.
Well, that's right, he's a bard, so that would be
Yeah.
8. That would be an 11, I think, for DC.
Plus his
right?
proficiency. So
Right.
it's 8 plus proficiency plus charisma. So 8 plus 2, 10, 13. DC 13 wisdom save.
The captain rolled a 1 with a +1, so the bard is indeed delving deeper into his mind. But none of you know this. I'm just letting you know that. And who joins that, Archimus?
Mindy.
Oh, and Mindy's listening. She's automatically deafened. Welcome, Mindy. Feel free to listen in. So Archimus does indeed delve deeper into the captain's mind, and he's able to learn more about the creature's deepest thoughts or concerns that are troubling or filling up his mind over the past couple of days.
He's scared
So
of being stabbed.
he's actually getting lots of information. Well, this goes even deeper than that. This goes deeper
Yeah.
into things that have been looming large in its mind, such as something it worries over, loves, or hates, as the spell says. Okay, now we're going to move on to Crudo Steelback, he's doing things you can't even see right now. Mainly just sort of keeping the population under control. We're going to go back to Sandro's turn. You're now at sea. The sea is choppy. You're having a hard time seeing. But you did see the... Actually, make a perception. Let me see if you did see the gnome go overboard.
I can't forget
Mindy, if you want to tune in, there's a roll 20. You can log in and watch some of that as well. 22. Okay, so you did see the gnome get tossed into the sea next to you. You see that he is very close by. She is doing it now. Yes, so, all right. What would you like to do?
I'd like to try to step on his head and jump back towards the ship. If
That
that's possible.
That's a bold move. You can attempt
That's a
it,
bold
but
move.
I mean, I want you to think about how easy or hard that would be in real life.
It would be difficult. I'm a monk. I don't know if that helps at all, but that's the best. It's better than pushing off of water or trying to swim.
It
I
is.
want to
It's
jump off
probably-
the water soon.
This
I'm
is
not
a
a
good
high enough level to
opportunity.
walk on water yet.
Oh yeah, I forgot you actually get to do that.
What'd you say, Steve?
You can attempt almost anything in my campaigns. I mean, will it get you killed? I don't know. Maybe.
I'm trying to think of the best course of action back to the boat, and that is the best course of action I can think of.
To be honest with you, I'm willing to be surprised by what your characters all can do. I shaped the campaign, and you know what? If your characters are able to handle it, then that's great. Right now, you're at sea in a choppy. Right. It would be. It depends. So if you're trying to jump off of his head, which I would say is a bit of a stretch, that would be an acrobatics. If you're trying to swim hard back to the ship with your monk muscles, that would be an athletics check.
I'm gonna try to jump off of his head, and I'm gonna use my inspiration.
I don't know if you have any other abilities or items that could help you. That is all you, dude.
I've got a sword. That's about it.
Stab
Using
into
your
the boat if you get
inspiration.
close
So
enough.
I gotta go really soon, so I'd love to see this roll.
So what is my inspiration?
After-
Is that an advantage or?
It would give you an advantage, yes. So you can attempt an
Alright.
acrobatics roll.
I got a 25.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so the ship is still fairly close. You have to realize every round is approximately 6 seconds, and you didn't fall off the back of the ship, you fell off the side of the ship. So it gave you a few seconds of time next to the ship. You are a monk. Now, if a regular person were to roll a 25 and try to jump off of a gnome's head that's bobbing in the water to grab onto a ship, a 25 would actually have their foot gracefully land on their head and have them launch into the air, but not reach the ship. But since you are a monk and you have trained your body to do these things, you do indeed grab one of the ropes that are dangling on the port of the ship.
Okay. And am I able?
Stern. Sorry,
is that
stern
my
of the ship.
movement to do that then? And then can I try to pull myself up?
Dude,
Or what do I do?
you're a whole turn, and all of your bodily energy went into doing the near
Okay,
impossible. You're there, man. You're there, dude.
Nice.
Yes, you launched the game, Mindy. You can launch it to watch. So yes, you have launched yourself into the back of the ship. See, I don't know what's gonna happen. I mean, I don't know if you're gonna die. I don't know if you're gonna be lost at sea and no one finds you again, or if you're gonna do some cool monk shit and you do some cool monk shit. Okay. Before you go, Lorian, before you go, why don't you do one last turn and see what you want to do? You're now grappling the captain, and I gotta tell you that's gonna be difficult for me to fill your shoes when you're in such an intense situation here.
Yeah. Well, I'm yelling at people to stand down and weigh anchor. I tell him, do as I say or you die. Do you yield? To the captain.
So you're saying that to the captain,
Yes.
and is that your turn?
Well, I mean,
Because you can
I've-
say that literally on almost anybody's turn if there's space and room for it.
yeah. Well, I mean, I've been saying that the whole time, telling people to stand down, weigh anchor,
Just keep
stop the ship,
yelling
or the captain dies. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, is the captain still struggling and trying to resist me?
I mean, he's resisting. Yeah, he's trying to struggle out.
All right. Well, I gave him 2 turns to stop resisting, so I guess I'm gonna try to slit his throat with a dagger.
That would be an attack roll with a dagger. Because
To
it's
the
not like
throat.
because it's not like he's unconscious on the ground. He's still willfully struggling. So it's not going to be.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on your roll, but I mean, like, roll your
But
attack
like I'm
roll.
holding the blade. I'm holding the blade to his throat already.
You're
Do you
though.
you're
get
you're
advantage when
no, you are
grappling somebody?
attempting to. You are successfully grappling him. You're not successfully having the blade to his throat though. You are struggling with him. You guys are in a test of strength right now. You're continually
Yeah, but
struggling.
I think if you
Okay.
grapple somebody, you get advantage on melee attacks.
Yes, she has an advantage, but it's not like it's
Okay.
it's not like he's
Okay.
unconscious and is an insta kill.
What do I click to roll for that?
So that would be that you can click your advantage tab, which would be on a thing, or you could just do 2 attack rolls and we'll see the highest, whichever you choose.
Okay,
It'll be easier to
how do I
see
do
two.
an attack roll on roll 20?
Just click the weapon you want to use, like in your like it'll say like attacks and spell casting. Just click like that. Or, like my long.
That's why,
sword is
yeah, that's why it's super important to get. That's why it's super important to have those in your character sheet. It'll make everything a little bit smoother once you have it in there.
Wait, where's the attacks and spellcasting section?
Are
Okay,
you
here
on
we
like
go.
the
Dagger,
core
yeah,
page,
dagger.
like your?
So I'm
Okay.
clicking it, but like, where do I click? Oh, there we go. Okay.
Okay, so you do have your weapons on there. Okay, good.
Do you have any
your
and I get to do it twice.
correct. Then you get the higher of the 2 because you have an advantage in this grapple.
Okay.
Okay, so his AC is. Let me check 1 second. You know what? Unfortunately, if your roll is a 12, if your best roll is a 12, you literally are slashing at his leather collar of his leather trench coat. You cut into the
Oh.
leather. I mean, you were close. You were very close. I'm sorry, but yeah,
Well, shit.
you're struggling. You're struggling.
And
with him.
guess what? I'm late for my doctor's appointment, so somebody's gonna have to drive Lorian. But he laid out his plan, so just, I guess I'll roll with that.
Oh, there's one last thing that happens though. There's one last thing,
Oh.
and you're gonna have to make a wisdom saving throw for it. He
Okay.
unleashes a verbal string of insults at you with nothing but his voice, because his hands are in struggles with you. It's vicious mockery, using only his voice.
Ooh.
He may,
Oh,
he may or may not have experience as a bard, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, he has some bardic spells. That's why he has thunder wave, whatever. So he slurs some general string of slurs regarding your gender and your lack thereof of genitals, or. I mean, that's a hard hit too, because we don't want to get into it. Maybe that's some of your backstory stuff. But you've been viciously mocked, and now you must make a wisdom saving throw.
And I got 7. So fuck.
So that means you get 1d psychic damage and a disadvantage on the next attack roll that you have. So that's
All
a
right,
1d
put that on my
1d4
character sheet,
psychic.
Steve.
Yeah, I'll do it. I'll
I
take it
have
from
to
there.
go.
I know
Go,
you
go,
do.
go,
Good
go.
luck with everything. I'll talk to you next time. So I will take over the
Thanks.
role of Lorian as she's out. Let me do that damage.
Do you
She
want me to?
takes only 1 damage. Do I want you to what? I can give you what's his name, Falminar. But let me just handle some of the roll 20 permissions for that and give her a damage as well.
I think I have access to Palomar stuff.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, so just handle him.
'Cause you got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, I'm controlling like a lot of shit. Okay, I put her temporary hit points at 21. That's all set. Okay, now, so that was the captain's move, and then he's also going to. No, that would be all his actions, right? No, that's that's 1 action, so that would take up his movement. Yeah, so he's all set because he can't even move.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
okay.
So on his turns, he can either try to break free or cast Vicious Mockery. He can't do both.
Right. Phone call. Okay. Next, we are on to Falminar. I think we might have accidentally skipped him, so let's do him next. What would you like to have him do? I'll let you control him for a round.
I was calling out to him to come grab me, but I'm not sure if he would be preoccupied with anything else.
He should have heard you, but roll a perception. Unless he gets anything terribly low, he should have heard you just fine. And he was right next to you when you got like blasted off by thunder wave. So, yeah, he totally heard you. So, yeah, what would you like to have him do?
I guess pull me up over and then move towards the captain, and voice the captain, so he can be ready to assist Lorian.
Okay, that would be a simple strength to pull you up. I'll roll that for you. I don't know if you have control of his character sheet.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
All right, cool.
So So you got a 12.
Yeah, that's more than enough. You're a lot smaller than him, although you're very dense. I mean, you are a monk and you're muscular, but yeah, he's a beast. So he pulled you straight up, no problem. Man, I don't even know. I wasn't sure like if you were gonna just get lost at sea, but yeah, you're back.
My last words would have been toss me a life raft, and then just I like get washed away. Fuck. So I'm
Yeah.
up here now.
So now that you're top deck, I know it's not necessarily your turn, but I still want you to make a perception roll now that you're top deck. Okay, 8. I mean, with an 8, you see Lorien struggling with the captain. You see Falmanar moving back toward him. You see the gnome thrashing in the sea behind you, and you see lots of bodies on the rest of the deck moving around, walking around. You notice who's who in the dark and in the rain at the first glance, because there's a lot going on the top deck here with all the sailors and things like that. Okay, now we're going to move on to, let's see here. We have the dwarfs move. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. So he runs up to Falmanar and straight attacks him. Let me pull that up.
Okay, I have a sheet open, so let me.
Balin Foam Tankard. We're going to make that roll here. So he is using the hand axe, and his attack roll is, where's my dice? Here's my dice. That's a straight up strength with an axe, right? Yeah. He actually only gets a, let's see, that's only a 10. So I think his armor class should block that, right?
Yeah, his armor class is an 18.
Yeah, so he just straight up kind of just grabs his arm and parries that off. The hand axe does not slice into him. But he's charging him now. The dwarf is like going full out war on him. Okay, next we have the tiefling. So his spell is complete. He gathered whatever information he will divulge later. And now he is running up to help. He wasn't paying too much attention to all the chaos going on near him. He was looking at the captain and you guys. So it's turning into a big clusterfuck up there. And now we are back to the... So you can't really see what's going on with these characters down here. I'll just say that what's happening down here is what's happening down here. But now the gnome's turn. Let me have a look at his stuff. Okay, I mean, you can make a perception roll to see if you can see what's happening with him. You're the closest one to the edge of the back of the deck.
Oh, I can see what's happening in the gnome.
That's right.
Yeah, okay. 18.
Right. So you see, yeah, you just see him thrashing. He's so helpless in the water. I mean, yeah, he's thrashing and he's getting further and further away from the ship. I mean, I just out of character for a quick second, like this dude was like stacked with like pretty sick spells and gear, and he's just
That's why you always throw the gnome wizard off the boat.
yeah,
That's
he's
lesson
just
number 1.
He's just so damn helpless right now. That was pretty well played, actually.
You can have him float by my boat, and we can have the stuff.
I don't think you're anywhere near him. Oh,
I don't think so.
Cedric, I am so sorry. I got so wrapped up in this combat. I'm so sorry. Let's go back to your turn. So, Cedric is on an entirely different ship, and he is surrounded by... There's some orcs top deck. I'm so sorry. I got so wrapped up in this combat. My apologies. What would you like to do on your move? We'll give you a chunky turn.
So with the detect magic, is there anything magic nearby other than what I have?
Only the things that you have, and
Okay.
that spell did go through successfully. And you do hear a lot of, you do hear more than 2 orc footsteps there. You're not sure how many, but you've been casting for a
Okay.
while now, and they've been scouring the ship. So that time went by, and you hear more footsteps than just 2.
I don't know what to turn into. Turn into like a lizard or something that can climb.
So
My wild shape?
what spell are you referring to? Just so I can get used to your
I'm using
stuff.
my wild.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. So give it some thought. But it is your turn. So let's. I'm gonna actually pull out spell so I can read it.
It's one of the druid features.
Right. So if you do want to turn into something, let me see what your options are.
I think it's any.
Anything up to 1/2 of CR that can't fly.
What circle are you?
That's actually really powerful.
Land.
That's really cool. All right. So what would you like to turn into?
Let's turn into small lizard or something that can
Okay.
climb.
And what's the casting time of that? Is it instantaneous?
1 action.
All right. I mean, you can turn into whatever color lizard you like.
Okay, cool. Something not noticeable.
All right.
lot of
Very good. Maybe
brownish.
something. Yeah, I would recommend kind of like the shade of wood of the ship, which is sort of
Yeah.
like a bit of a sun-stained kind of like. It's not like white, but it's not quite a mahogany. It's kind of a lighter wood. So yeah,
Yeah.
I would go with like a light tan, if I were you.
Let me find a lizard here.
Any lizard is fine as long as you pull up the hit points for me in 5e, 5th edition. Yeah, just
there's
get
not a lot.
me. Yeah, just get me the speed, the
Uh,
HP, and the AC, and then we'll be good. You can just sort of.
10 AC, 2 hit points, 20 speed, and 20 climbs.
Great.
I want to try to, like, go outside sneakily and kind of climb up somewhere.
So you can climb out of one of the ports of the side of the ship if you want, if that's what you mean, and you
Ooh,
can
that's a
totally
great idea.
and you can totally walk on the side of the ship as a lizard. And if you choose to do that, you will see that the rain is really starting to lighten up, and you're starting to see the faint glow of dawn's light coming over the horizon. You see the clouds above, the light coming through, the glistening sea, and as you're on the side of the ship, you now see and you now realize that you are indeed anchored along a very rocky coastline, and there is a very small little cove that the ship is sort of anchored near. And the rain is starting to lighten up a bit. What would you like to do now that you're on the side of the ship? Can you guys still hear me? It seems like there might have been some issue with the Discord. Okay, I can hear you guys again. Sound is back.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
there was a discrepancy in the sound there. Also, Mindy's muted, so I don't know if she experienced that as well. But yeah, we're back. So yeah, I don't know where my voice was cut off, but I was saying that the rain is letting up. The dawn's glow is starting to come over the horizon. You see clouds in the sky, and you notice that you are on a coastline on a very rocky shore, and the ship is anchored near a little cove that is avoiding those rocks. And now you're on the side of the ship. What would you like to do?
I want to try to climb up one of the rope that goes up to the mast and see if I can
Mhm.
kind of get on top of that.
You can absolutely climb to the top of the mast. So as you do so, you see at least 5 orcs on the top deck, rummaging through some bags, kind of throwing everything in the bags on the top deck, just really ransacking the place. You see them throwing potatoes and all those other vegetables and things that you saw earlier. They're just making a mess of the place. They're just ripping the bags open. They're cutting into them violently. They
Is
just seem
there
to be
another
searching.
boat or anything nearby?
Do not see another boat. All you see is the cove. Make a perception roll, actually.
Ooh,
Wow, 27. So you must have rolled a
See all
perfect
the
20.
things.
You must have rolled a perfect 20.
did.
Right. You know what? That roll was so good but I'm actually going to drag you to an entirely other image.
See all the things.
This is what you actually see.
Okay.
Keep in mind it's a little cloudier and a little rainier.
Yeah.
So you're by a cove. The cave in the cliffside is actually not as dramatic as it is in the picture. It's a little bit more concealed than that. But with your 27, it stands out to you, and you see it. There seems to be some kind of cave that leads in there. You see just a rundown dinghy that's been pulled up onto the sand above where the high tide goes. You see a very rocky shore. You know it's very precarious. As a sailor yourself, you know that this is not a place that's easy to anchor. So if one of the rogues did indeed sail in, they knew what they were doing. You're 27. Actually, even though you've been transformed into something else, you sense that something's not right. There's something different in your pocket, but you can't quite grab your pocket because you've turned into a lizard.
Yeah,
So you'll
can't do
have
that.
so you'll have to wait until you're back into human form to
I'll
see
get
what
that
new
later.
thing is in your pocket. Now that's something that you actually didn't notice earlier with all your other perception rolls, but with the 27, even a folded parchment is something that you do notice while you're in lizard form. But yeah, you're up top, and that's the landscape that you see. And the coastline just goes on and on and on, and it's just much rockier and more precarious as the coastline goes on. This is the safest point for a ship to be. But you
Okay.
do see, you not only see that, but you also see a horse with no rider. Welcome, Archmus. I'm just in the middle of a description here. You also see a horse with no rider, just sort of, it's acting very panicked, and it's by the dinghy on the beach there, and it's acting very panicked and kind of like it's going on its heels in fear and kind of going back and forth with nowhere to go. And the cave does look quite dark and mysterious. What would you like to do?
Is there anything near the horse?
You
Dead
just
body or
see,
something?
you don't see a dead body there, no, but you see that it has saddlebags. It's a dark chocolate color. It's got a beautiful mane. It seems to be well cared for, but it just seems to be very panicked and running back and forth. It seems to have no owner, and there's just an empty dinghy there. That's all there is to it. And actually, I'm sorry, you do see one other thing. You see many different tropical birds, not tropical birds, but you see lots of seagulls flying around, and you do see one falcon. One unusual falcon that doesn't seem to match in with the rest of the seagulls. And it's sort of perched on the cliffside and kind of going from rock to rock on the cliffside.
How far is the jump from what looks like the front port side of the ship to that one rock?
So if you go to the first sail, and if you make that jump would probably hurt you. But if you were to jump in the water, that would break your fall.
Well, how
but-
how rough is the water? Is it like really calm?
The water is they're kind of gentle waves. The waves go up about maybe 3 or 4. They go about 4 or 5 feet up onto the sand, but they're not like crashing waves here. The waves are crashing higher up and lower down the coastline where it's much more violent and rocky. But here it's more of a gentle give and take.
Okay. So I'll go down everything and get in the water.
Yep.
And kind of go over to that front port side rock.
You do sense some pretty large fish swimming beneath you. They're moving around, but you do make it onto the rocks safely.
Uh-huh. Let's
Now that you're on the rocks, I'd like you to make one more perception roll now that your position is different.
sure can.
What are these rolls today? Is there something going on with roll 20? Like, did I put some setting on or something?
We are dogs.
I mean, I have a +7.
I mean, you guys are getting some epic roll. Like 27, like 30, for example, should be like probably the highest anybody should ever get. Like, it's like 30 is like when you reach perfection, basically. Okay, so you actually hear the clamor of battle in the caves. You hear people screaming in pain. You hear cries in Orcish. You hear humans yelling. You hear the explosion of magic.
Ugh.
You
Right.
hear the echoes of pure and bloody raw combat, which sounds to be between orcs and some form of civilized race of the
Okay.
realm.
Well, I'm a lizard, so I can't do a whole lot with that right now.
We're gonna jump.
I-
We're gonna jump back briefly to the other crew.
Okay, yeah.
I'm gonna drag us back to the other image.
Hello.
Okay.
We're live.
Okay. Thank you, Artemis, for being so patient. Artemis,
no problem.
I've actually took control of your character during
Perfect.
the mutiny, and what I had you do was, I had you probe into the captain's mind before and during he was being grappled by Lorien and held at knife point. It would take too much time for me to type it out and make it sort of secret, so what I will do is just publicly tell you, but this is information that only your character knows at this moment. So through the spell, Detect Thoughts, you were able to determine that first you touched upon his surface thoughts. And his surface thoughts for that, he needs to get his cargo, which happened to be human cargo, to the cultists. His mind didn't go into too much detail as to who these cultists were, but his job was to deliver these slaves, so to speak, these captives, to these cultists as soon as possible. And he was feeling pretty damn good about the speed of the ship in the storm and the winds. But you did successfully probe deeper. While Lorien was actually grappling him at knife point, you successfully probed past his wisdom saving throw. And you were able to determine that he actually feared he actually feared these cultists and had been researching them for a while now. This is not the first job he had with these cultists, delivering human slaves. And he fears them. He fears what they worship, and he has researched what they worship. And he has been taking notes. He has been studying. So that's what you have discovered from the inner reaches of his mind.
Okay. So what's currently happening in this situation? Because there's someone in the water. There's
The gnome's drowning.
Okay.
I'm standing here. That dwarf's attacking.
Okay,
Phenomena.
so dawn's light is just now creeping over the horizon. It is still storming. The rain has let up a little bit. Lorien planned with the others a surprise attack on the main slavers, and so on the count of 3 with message, the gnome was thrown, basically tossed at sea as he was like startled awake. As Sandro, the human monk, charged the captain was already suspicious and had a ready action to shoot Thunder Wave at Sandro, blasting him off of the ship. Sandro was in the sea and used an incredible monk athletic move to jump off of the head of the gnome and grab the back of the ship just before it went out of reach. Lorien was able to grapple and control the captain at knife point. However, the captain lashed back with vicious mockery as his hands were grappled and used only his voice to put Lorien at a disadvantage by insulting his or her gender and genitals. Whereas Falion is now free-handed, pulled Sandro back up, and is now attacking the captain. The captain is now outnumbered 4-2 actually, because now the steely-faced dwarf foam tankard, Falion foam tankard, is now charging Falion. You are below. You're on the lower. Okay, you're top deck, but the main deck, and you're rushing up to help. And you saw, because you were the only player character who was down there to see what's going on, a lot of these sailors, the sailors that were kind of like sailors for hire, or at least what you perceive to be, just seem to be really surprised and startled about what's going on, but they're not drawing their weapons. They're just all looking around like really scared and like surprised, but they're like ready for whatever. But they haven't attacked any of you yet, and you're down there with Kurdu Steelback, and he's also just sort of ready just in case these sailors try to attack. But that's what you've seen, and that's what's happening now.
Okay. So we're currently still locked in combat then.
Yeah, we all have an initiative right now. Your initiative is, let me check here. Your initiative is 7 on the listing.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, I don't think I'd be the first person to make a move, so whoever is can do that.
So I think we actually did kind of make our rounds here. Let's go back to actually you, Artemis, if you like. You can do what you want.
Okay.
So what you see before you, just to quickly describe, is you see the enemy dwarf charging at Falminar and attacking him. You see Lorien like viciously mocked and struggling to control the captain by a grapple, and that's what you see.
Okay. Sandro is right next to. Can I go over and help Lorian try to hold the captain down or grapple?
Absolutely, but I mean, it seems like she's got him grappled. So I don't know if you want to try to like. I don't know what you
Okay.
want to do. I don't know what you want to do with that situation. I mean, you can go lethal, you can go non-lethal, you can try to help. I don't know what you want to do. It's up to you.
Hold him down, just will punch him in the face.
All right. I don't know if it's being lethal or not, but for now, I'm gonna go after the dwarf then. If she seems like she's got this, I'm gonna go after the dwarf right here,
All right.
and I'm gonna use my dagger. I'll use my dagger to try to swing at it.
Right.
And if I remember correctly, I just click the dagger in my inventory. Correct? Attacks and spellcasting.
Correct.
Okay.
Nice. So you land an attack. You actually stab him, and is that 7 there? 7 damage? Yeah, 7 damage.
7
Nice.
extras.
Excellent. Yeah, you stab him straight in the back, and then pull the dagger back out, and you see blood run down his shoulder, as he was occupied fighting Valiant. So let me write that in, and then we're gonna move on to. I mean, Kurdu is just readied, and all the sailors down there are just really freaking out. Let's move on to Sandra.
All right. You see this? You see this man trying to fuck with my boy here? This guy with the battle axe. Or you said he had a hand axe or whatever. I'm gonna give him
I
the
do,
old.
yes.
The old. I'm gonna punch him 3 times. So I'm gonna action attack, bonus action punch, and then flurry of blows.
I'm sorry, I was distracted. Which one, the captain or the dwarf? Which one are you attacking?
The dwarf guy. I'm
Go
gonna
for it.
handle him, and then we can handle the captain.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna use a key point to do flurry of blows.
Nice. Flurry of blows, if I remember correctly, is a pretty powerful monk move.
Yeah. So I just
So how many times does that work now? 3, 4 times?
3. I rolled a 3
Oh,
on
my
every
lord.
fucking dice. So if all 3 of those hit, which I don't think so, but there's 3 attacks.
I'm checking his AC right now. Actually, yeah, they do all hit, because this dwarf is just wearing a set of furs. He's not
Okay.
wearing any, like, leather or plate mail or chainmail or anything.
So I run up, I bop him twice in the chest with my hands, and I do like a spin kick to the side of his head.
He's on the ground and wheezing. Like, you fucked this guy up. Yeah, he's completely on the ground, and he's motioning that he's like not even fighting. Like, you hit him so badly, man. monks are badass, dude.
Monks are badass. And I'm also
Okay.
gonna have my sword drawn as well, like just ready to go.
And what would you like Valiant to do? As I pull up a token for somebody here.
I guess assist with try to disarm the captain. If he has any, does he have any weapons or no?
Yeah, you perceive him to have a scimitar.
Is he holding it or is it in his?
He's actually not holding it, but I mean, all it takes is like half an action, and you like whip that out. So you see it
Take the
in
scimitar,
a
just
sheath. You
pluck it
see it
off
in a
the
sheath.
boat.
Yeah, I mean, I would like you to make a dexterity for that. He should
Okay.
not have a hard time doing that if he makes a decent roll.
12.
Yes, he can do that and throw it off the ship easily.
Gotcha. Just hear the gnome in the distance. Just, ow. No, but so the captain's disarmed. Lorian's got a dagger to his neck. I fucked up the only dude that came to help him.
Oh. Oh no. Okay, it's smaller.
So let me pull that image up again.
Also, I don't think Lorian would be in her transformation state anymore, would she? Or he? I don't know.
What do you mean?
Is Lorian still like looking like the orc woman?
Oh no, because she lost concentration of that. So you see this half orc that you've seen before run to top deck, and she doesn't attack. She says, "What's going on here? What's happening?"
We're taking this ship. There's hostages.
She looks
I'm
back
gonna-
and forth at everyone on the top deck and just stands there assessing the situation. Go ahead, you can make a move, Artemis.
I'm going to put my dagger up and pull out my rapier if I can, in the same action. not sure
You
if
can
you'd be able
you can
to.
do that on your turn. On your turn, you can definitely do that.
Okay, I'm gonna
Um,
face her, pull out my weapon. I'm not gonna say anything, but I'm not gonna attack her yet. I'm just bracing.
You can look her way for sure, but as far as your action is concerned, you'll have to wait. I'm actually going to have the captain try to struggle out. Now, with his vicious mockery, he did put Lorien at a disadvantage. So that disadvantage is actually going to go toward her grapple as well. So he's going to make a strength roll, because this dude is not chilling out, even at knife point and grappled. So let me make his roll here. So that was, what was that, athletics? Yeah, athletics, you said.
Yeah, it's athletics.
So I'm gonna make her opposing roll. He got an 11. Let's see what she rolls.
Yeah. With the
He or
grapple,
she
the only time
is
you
a-
can use anything that isn't athletics is when you're trying to avoid being grappled. Everything else is.
Ooh, what happens when they're both 11? I can't remember. I think is it
You
DM
just-
choice? I
it's
think
just
it's
the lowest one, but since they're both the same, it's just 11.
Does it remain though? Because they're both 11.
If both, oh, if they like each person
Yeah.
ties.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what happens in that
Um,
situation. I think it remains the same because she's the aggressor and he's trying to pull out.
I'll
yeah.
look it up.
Yeah, might as well look it up. We'll look it up too.
A grappler loses a new grapple if it's tied, but if they're maintaining a grapple, they succeed on a tie.
Okay, so yeah. So he's still grappled then, but almost breaks free. Oh, she's at a disadvantage. I forgot I have to roll again for her.
Ooh, wow.
So you see them struggling, and he just slips free. And he makes a run and jumps over the top deck down here.
Do we get a tax opportunity on him since he's running away? Chris would get one.
Artemis can.
Domino would be
Artemis
standing next to him,
make-
wouldn't he? 'Cause he took the dagger.
he was still like a good 5 feet away, like just over 5 feet away. But Artemis, you can make an attack on the captain.
I want to try to grapple him as he runs past me.
That's possible. Yeah, you can do that.
Would that just be a strength check?
It would be an athletics
Yeah,
check.
Athletics check.
The captain can make an athletics or acrobatics. too.
Ouch.
Okay, so I'm gonna make the opposing athletics check. He has a total with pluses, with additions of a 20. So he easily just slips through your fingertips and jumps over the rail of the top deck onto the main deck, and turns that way. But his turn ends there. Now we're going to move on to Lorien, who she's just been pushed back against the wood there, so she's sort of just recovering herself. Let's move back to Cedric for a moment. I know he's in a whole different situation. I want to make sure he gets a good chunk of fun in there too. Cedric, what's happening with you now?
I don't know, he's back. Are you back in the bathroom, Cedric?
Cedric may not be back yet, so we can continue. Sandra, your move.
My move?
Yeah.
Your boy's gonna leap down at the captain, and I'm gonna give him the old rock'em sock'em again. That's possible.
Yeah, you
Like,
can make that.
Run
Yeah.
along
That
here
should
and just,
be-
like, jump down.
That should be about 15, 20 feet away from you. 20 feet.
Okay, so I'm going to. Can I move after I attack? Because some people won't let you do that. I just want to make
Yes,
sure.
you can. Yeah, I
Okay.
always allow that as long as it doesn't go beyond your movement for whatever situation you're in. Like, obviously, sometimes
So
movement is increased or decreased.
Gonna do another flurry of blows on him. So,
Man, you and your flurry of blows, that's a powerful move. It always was a powerful move.
25,
right there.
23, 16. So
Yeah, let me check. I'm pretty sure those all hit. They all are higher than his AC. So he's wearing
So I
leather.
just-
Studded leather. Yeah. That's right. So that's a total of, we have, what, 17? Yeah, 17 damage.
Just do some like strikes with some pressure points, and then just punch him in the chin. And then
Yeah.
how badly does that look like it hurt him?
You could tell that it was painful for him. He's not one to take heavy hits, but he's still up, and he doesn't seem to be going down very easily.
And then since I have mobile, I can attack people and then move away. As long as I make an attack on somebody. Yeah,
Well,
I'll just post it, so you can
I
see.
mean, I allow that for
I'm
any
gonna move.
player. I allow that for any player. I allow
I know.
movement,
I mean, like
free
he
movement.
he doesn't get an attack opportunity on me when I move away.
Excellent. Okay, I understand.
So I'm just
Excellent.
gonna
Yep. That's
move
correct.
back over. Where's the dwarf at? Our dwarf.
The
It's this
the
guy,
dwarf
right?
the dwarf is no that's our friendly dwarf. The hostile
Yeah, I'm gonna make
dwarf
sure. Like
is-
I'm gonna go. Does he look all right?
Yeah, he's actually just sort of like standing there with his mace out, ready, and the sailors are also like, they're like, everyone's just alarmed down there, and everyone's just waiting to make a move, but no one's making a move. They're just watching this shit go down.
Okay, I'm gonna move down here, stand next to our door front, and watch these guys and kind of keep them.
Yeah.
Do like hand motions at them. Just tell them like stay where they are.
hmm
Stay where you are. And that'll be my turn.
All right, I'm gonna do Falion's turn. Falion, let me see what weapons he has again.
He
Sorry,
has
Falminar, I meant to say.
a battle axe, a hand axe, and his fist. Why does he have +9 with his fist? What?
Falminar is gonna take out the battle axe and try to decapitate the dwarf.
Ooh!
The dwarf is completely decapitated. Because he was on all fours just wheezing, and it was just a clean. God. I mean, that's what happens when you hire a bodyguard, dude. Like he's been wanting this for a while now, I think.
Max on both dice. Holy shit!
Yeah, he's super killed. Let me get a body token for that. Okay, so we're gonna move to Archimus's turn, and then Cedric, are you back yet? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, I just got back.
Great. So after we do Archimus's turn, we'll jump to your turn.
Has the half-orc woman done anything since I've been looking at her?
She appears to be shocked by all this. She does have her weapon out, but she's not attacking. She's alarmed by all this.
Nothing needs to get too crazy now, right? We can remain calm.
She nods. So what would you like to do after she nods?
Sorry about that. What was that again?
So she nods. She agrees with you. She physically nods, but it doesn't say anything. She's just standing there with her weapon out, but she's not in an offensive stance. She just has it out and is just standing there, like watching everything go down.
All right. I'm going to back up over towards here. Can I get down the ship from here?
Down the steps? Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I'm gonna keep my eyes on her as I'm backing up. How many feet is this actually? Oh. Oh.
That was always coming a little bit bigger. Sorry.
Okay.
Is that accurate amount of feet or no?
It's not accurate. That's about, honestly, that's about 15 feet.
Okay.
I like
And
to eyeball it a lot because
have-
a lot of these maps I kind
30.
of use bigger or smaller. So
I can go over to the captain again.
you can even just
Okay.
jump over the rail if you want to save some travel space,
Oh,
but that'll
yeah,
be a
why
dex
not?
roll. That'll be a dex roll if you want to risk it.
I'm fine with taking extra travel space. I don't
No
trust
problem.
myself.
No problem. Yeah, you can sprint down.
So no one else is attacking. So I want to try to grab the captain again.
Can do that. Yeah.
Okay. And athletics again.
Yes. Like he's gonna make an
Captain
opposing.
has no weapon.
Oh, no.
I'm about to say the captain
Yes,
has no
he-
weapon. He might submit, but nope.
No, he does not. He does not. He's not grappled. Is what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Well.
Let's see. So the captain starts to back away from you. Actually, on his turn, he is not attacking. Backing away. And he's calling out for Falion, but he doesn't realize that he's already been decapitated. Falland, sorry. Falland, yeah, Falland. He's calling out for Falland and Fabian, who you believe is the gnome. So he's calling out for them. He's calling out for their assistance. We're going to move to Cedric now, back at the other scene. Cedric.
I have chips in my mouth. I wasn't ready for that.
No problem. I'm going to drag us all here so we can just sort of see the layout of where you are. The rough layout.
And
Well,
that
I
was
can
on.
to go do something really quick.
Yeah, you can go FK, no worries.
I'll be right back.
Yeah.
And I was on that rock. Okay,
That's right.
so what I want to do is climb over this way and see if I can look inside and see what's going on.
Sure thing. You can definitely do that.
I'm gonna keep my eye on that falcon.
On the falcon, yeah. The falcon is sort of kind of chirping and chittering and like kind of flying all around the cave.
Is it magic, or is it just a normal falcon?
Well, you still have detect magic running. You detect some faint magic in the distance within the cave now that you're closer, but you don't detect any magic from the falcon, from the horse, from the ship, or from the dinghy, or anything up on that little kind of abandoned camp either. You don't really detect any other magic outside the cave.
I just didn't know if that falcon was like, surprise, it's a wizard.
Nope. And actually, before you get to peek inside the cave, you actually see it fly off into the oversea. It just flies out to sea. And the rain is really starting to let up now. The clouds are starting to clear little by little. As you look into the cave, make a perception roll.
Not very good.
You start to hear some of the battle dying down as it took for you to crawl across the cave wall. Very quickly, actually. The cries and the clamoring seem to kind of lessen very rapidly. It went from many, many voices to now only just a few. And you do see running water coming out of this cave, almost an underground river. And you see a few glowing eyes deep, deep in the cave. Eyes that are reflecting light. They don't necessarily fixate on you, but you see them looking around hurriedly. And you do hear a bit of steel on steel and some clamoring still.
Well, I see glowing eyes. Fuck all that. I will actually try to go over to the horse. I don't know where it is. I'm assuming it's up over here.
Yes. Yeah. You can do that. As you go along the rock wall there, you do see those orcs starting to make their way below deck on the ship you came from now. They're going down and they're just ransacking the ship. The ship looks like it was, because once again, you are experienced with water vessels. You could tell this wasn't the work of orcs. You could tell that the ship was most likely anchored and brought in close to shore by an experienced sailor. Probably those rogues who did sail with you. You assume that they did in fact come in and sail the ship and move out. Based on the gear that was taken and the things that were left, you think that they had time to leave before these orcs started to ransack this ship. That's your prediction, but you're not sure. Yeah, so you make your way over to the horse. It's somewhat panicked still. It's kind of rushing back and forth.
It's like jumping around and all that.
It's sort of spooked. Yeah, it's kind of pacing back and forth about 10, 15 feet, just going back and forth. And
Is this like a
it's a bit-
tree?
yeah, it's a tree. I mean,
Okay,
it's kind of like a tall fern. These are kind of ferns because this is kind of a cooler region. The air is kind of cool here. I know it looks like a palm tree, but it's for like ferns.
Firm enough to me jump off of.
I mean, the ferns are a little flimsy.
Hmm.
But I mean, you can attempt to. You're a lizard, so you're pretty damn agile and lightweight.
Because I want to try to get onto that and jump onto the saddle, or the saddle bag. Just not the bare skin of the horse.
You can attempt that for sure. You'd have to make a dex roll. You also have like really fast climbing as a lizard
Yeah, 20 feet.
compared to a human.
I'm just rolling a d20. That's it. That's all I
Okay.
got.
Go for it.
What was that? Slash. Roll.
1d20. There you go. 2.
Yeah. No.
I mean, you kind of fling yourself, and the fern is very flimsy, so it doesn't have much stay, and you kind of just sort of fall shorter than you wanted to and land on the sand. And you're actually a little worried about the horse's hooves now. Now, if I'm not mistaken, as a DM, and if I'm pretty certain as a druid, you know that if you were to get stomped on, you would simply return back to your human form.
Yeah.
If you were to lose that many hit points. But then again, you do have a hefty amount of hit points for a lizard. Honestly, 20 hit points is a lot for a lizard.
I have 2 hit points.
Oh, I misheard you too. That makes more sense
Yeah.
20
now.
speed.
That makes more sense now. I misheard the 2. I thought I heard you say 20, which just seems like a lot.
Yeah. That's like as much as like a black bear. So. Okay. Immediately get away from the horse. I want to get stomped on.
No, you do not.
Is there anything that I could jump that is actually stable? That I could jump off of?
Unfortunately, any of the trees and the ferns are a little bit short, flimsy, and the horse is too far out on the sand for you to actually jump off of anything. It's kind of just out in the sand there, running back and forth.
Unfortunate. Alright, well. Instead of that, I could deal with that later. I'll come up over here.
Hmm.
Kind of see what I got.
So it looks like a meeting ground. It looks like a place that was very quickly set up, very quickly abandoned, and it seems ransacked. You don't see any bodies or anything, but you see everything rummaged and scattered about. There's lots of litter on the ground. There's some metal plates and forks just thrown on the ground upside down. You see vegetables tossed about. You see items rummaged through, just all valueless items, just small little campground things that people have just to set up. But you do see lots of footprints. Both actually make a perception roll to see what you see in the footprints of the sand there, the dirt.
I wish I could just use my passive.
Yeah, you can do that. 18, very good. So you see the boots of the civilized races. When I say that, I mean like the different playable races, like either dwarves or humans, and potentially elves or half elves. But you also see kind of the tribal footwear and footprints of bear and booted orcs. So you believe this camp to be either or. Could be either or camp. The tents look like it's one of the civilized races, but it looks like it was ransacked by orcs.
We're actually gonna go around it and just see if there's like footprints leading into the forest. Well, coming from the forest, the kind of footprint.
Yes, make an investigation roll, and then before you hear the description of that, we're gonna jump back to the other crew. I'm gonna drag us back to the image. All right, so we're gonna go to Artemis's turn now.
Okay. I want to try to cast sleep on the captain.
All right, let me pull that spell up. You're free to cast it if you like, though. But I just want to pull it up for myself. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll precast it, right?
Just click it and it'll put the information in there for him.
That too.
Oh, wait. Oh, wait, can I cast this at level 2 yet?
Should be able to.
You should.
It's a first level enchantment. I believe at level 4 you should have a level 1 spell. Yeah. You're a bard, right? So yeah, you should be able to.
Okay.
Ooh, that's a lot of hit point.
So there's one thing about sleep that I learned the hard way one time is that I think it also affects friendlies in the area too, not by choice. So
We
first,
can open it.
first you need to do a 60-10 roll, and this is the total number of hit points of creatures the spells can affect. So creatures within 20 feet of a point you choose are affected in order of their current hit points. So you don't necessarily know the hit points of the captain. You don't know that. You don't know the hit points of the sailors or Sandra, or not Sandra, but of Kurdu.
Well, he can just center it
So-
off the ship and then call it. Just do it there and only get the.
You can. So if you want to do that, you might catch a little bit of that sailor next to him, which is actually facing inward.
That's perfectly fine by me.
Also, Chris, make sure you're marking how many spell slots you've used.
Well, if you just threw it like here or something, I don't know the range.
So was 27 the total number of
the
hit
amount of-
points? Right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So know that.
So starting with the
60
starting with the
total,
lowest hit point creature, you subtract their hit points
Right.
from the.
I understand. So the question is, where do you want to center the spell? And I'll give you a rough estimation of how many feet the radius is. I'll give you like an estimation.
Can
So
I
it's 20 feet. 20 feet is how many creatures it affects. 20-foot radius.
Okay. Can I center it going towards this way, right about here?
Yes, that will encompass. If you put it a little bit to the left, that'll encompass just that sailor and the captain.
I'm back.
Oh,
welcome
great.
Back.
So you guys can type her what she missed, and we'll carry on in voice. So yeah, you can, if you want to encompass just those two guys, I would cast it a little bit further out.
Okay,
To
I
the
would
left.
like to do that.
All right. Yep. So you cast a spell. You actually successfully make the captain fall asleep, and the other sailor does not, because the hit points do not add up. But he does fall asleep. He is successfully asleep. Wow. Okay, Sandra, your move.
All
All
can
right,
I
who's
talk
asleep?
to Sandro just real quick? Can I tell him you
Absolutely.
you have anything to tie him up? We need him. We need him. He has information.
Mm. No.
I would like you all to make a perception roll. Also, Lorian, now that you're back as well. And Lorian, I'm going to give
Actually,
you
no,
temporary
I
control.
have a
value.
grappling hook with rope attached to it, so I can just take the rope off of it.
Yeah, I mean, I have rope, also.
Sandro, make a perception roll as well.
Oh.
Just before we carry on, I just want to. Who joined? Let me see. Mindy, welcome back. Okay, so you all with that roll notice that the sun is just finally, the dawn's light is just coming over the horizon, and the rain is really starting to let up. You all saw that the captain fell asleep. Lorian, just last round you saw that the dwarf was completely decapitated by Falmanar.
Nice.
He took out his axe and just sliced his head off mercifully, fulfilling his duty as your bodyguard as you hire him to do so. Tumagu, the half-orc woman, ran up just a moment ago and had her weapon drawn. She had a short sword drawn, but she did not attack. She stood down at the command of Archimus. She was assessing the situation from what you saw, and all the other sailors are just sort of shocked and standing there, not making a
Like-
move. Kurdu has his mace drawn and is waiting for them to make a move as well, but so far everyone has stood down, and the captain is now put to sleep by Archimus's bardic magic. The gnome is nowhere to be found since he's been thrown to sea, as the ship is moving rather rapidly in the dark water. Now,
You're gonna have a bad
Sandro is the only one with this roll, the only one who notices on the horizon what appears to be something standing out in the horizon's light beyond the bow of the ship.
Do
It
our
may
guys
or-
like land or a ship?
It,
or just...
it may or may not be land or a low-laying cloud, but you are moving fast towards it with no one at the wheel. Now
Alright.
we'll move on to Lorian.
Do I get to take my turn?
I'm sorry, actually, yeah, I'm sorry. We were in the middle of doing your turn. Go ahead, Sandra. Yeah.
So is this dude asleep, or is it just the captain's asleep?
Just the captain.
I want to try to kick him off the boat.
Was that dude doing anything?
He didn't have a weapon.
Is he- Oh,
You
wait,
are,
he doesn't?
you are,
Okay,
you,
okay.
you have the freedom to do as you choose in my campaign.
Okay, no. I didn't realize. I thought he had a weapon. Okay. Does anybody look like they're gonna attack?
No one has their weapon drawn except for Tumagu, but she does not look like she's in an aggressive stance. She looks like she's in a defensive stance. The
gonna
half-orc
yell.
woman.
I'm gonna yell in Orcish across the ship.
You speak
Shoot
Orcish,
your
by the way.
weapon.
That's
What?
right. That's right. You do speak Orcish, right?
And another language.
That's right. I know. Wink,
Oh.
I know.
But yeah, I'm just yelling. Just sheath your weapon, and then I'm gonna run up and I'm gonna try to type the captain with my silk robe on my grapple.
She slowly sheathes it reluctantly, and you also see her mouse Lily on her shoulder, the same mouse which the captain realized was not on your shoulder as you were disguised with magic, Lorien. You successfully tie the captain up. Actually, I'd like you to make a make a sleight of hand roll on that,
Would it
please.
be survival since I know knots?
It would be sleight of hand. It would be
Okay.
sleight of hand for this situation. Wow.
Ooh.
Oh, you did a
Everyone-
complex shibari tie. It was beautiful.
Everyone is rolling so
I know
damn
some
high this
BDSM
game.
knots that would make Lorien blush.
You just
This
did 5
Nice.
Chinese finger traps.
I gotta tell you guys, this camp. Someone rolled a 27 earlier. Like people have been rolling
Damn.
ridiculously high. You missed all of the monk flurry of blows, which is probably like one of the cooler attacks in the actual game. He did that on 2 people.
just
It's
ran up and-
completely.
I punched a guy 3 times, he just collapsed to the ground, and just like.
So he is successfully tied. Would you like to do anything else on your turn after you tie him? I'll let you have.
I'm
more
gonna
movement.
sit on his. I'm just gonna sit on his chest and just hold him down. Before he wakes
Okay.
up.
Very good. Lorien, your move.
All right, I look at the half-orc woman and say to her, "Did you know that 12 slaves are being carried on this ship to be sold as human sacrifices?"
She does not respond.
Lack of answer tells me just as much as an answer. Let's see, who is near me right now? Oh, Falminar's there.
Dominor's next to you. A decapitated dwarf is next to you.
Mm-hmm.
Tumagu, or at least that's what you think her name is,
Mm-hmm.
the hulking half-orc woman with the pet mouse, is standing there, who just sheathed her weapon at the command of Artemis. I'm sorry, Sandro. And that's who's on the top deck.
And she's not responding. Okay. So, I have a familiar. Do you remember the familiar that I had summoned last night, Steve?
It's been a wild month. You're gonna have to remind me, IRL.
Yeah, I've got an owl.
Okay, copy that. Owl, got you. Yes.
All right. So my owl has been, floating about with the ship.
Indeed.
So I call
that's
my.
better. That's better than what was flying around Cedric's ship, but we won't get into that now. Anyway, go on.
Oh dear. So
Why didn't I see it with my 27?
I tell my owl to.
I was talking about last session, dude. I was talking about last session. But yeah, what does your
Oh,
owl
yeah.
do?
To come in and gently extract the mouse without killing it.
This session, I'm like, oh god.
I mean,
And I
I'll
tell-
actually have you roll a random 1d20 for your owl's dexterity roll.
Okay, let's see.
Impales the fucking mouse. Just.
Oh.
I mean, she crouches down rapidly just as the mouse runs into her vest pocket rapidly, and the owl just soars overhead, and she looks at you quizzically and suspiciously after doing something like that. We're actually going to go to Archimus's turn, and then we're going to jump to Cedric back at the other scene.
And no one else, because there's how many people out here? 4, and this one's our friendly dwarf right here. Oh,
Correct.
okay. So, and they're still not doing anything.
No, man, they have startled looks. You can make a perception roll, actually. Yeah, so you see that they are. You see the one on the top right here with the black is a half elf, and then the other 2 are humans. One is like a human woman with blonde hair who's kind of short, and then you see this kind of like receding hairline dude over here on the left who's also a human, and they just looks kind of scared, and you don't even perceive them to have. I mean, they have like little rusty daggers. Like they don't have like. They're not like equipped for combat. They're not wearing armor. They look scared as shit. Like they just saw a dude get decapitated on their ship. They look scared. They do not look ready for combat.
Decapitation +5 to
Can I
decapitation.
look at them and point my thumb back to? Is this where you'd go into the ship, or is that up here?
So the first place you clicked is where your very homely cabin was, with the bare minimum. And that just kept you out of the rain and had some cots. And then there are under the 2 stairs that lead to the top deck, there are 2 different doors. So there's one on the right, one on the left, and then you see a small panel door like just underneath that place where the decapitated dwarf is as well. So you see
Okay.
4 doors in total. One that you stayed in already, and then 3 other doors.
I want to point to the one we stay on already. I'm gonna call it. Get back
Yeah.
into the ship. To the
And you're pointing over there, correct?
right here.
I would like you to roll intimidation roll, because whether you intend to be intimidating or not, the situation calls for intimidation. Okay, even with a 7, I mean, they may or may not be like super scared, but I mean, they don't want to fuck with any of you guys, so they're going in there. At least from what you perceive. I don't like to give too much meta, but that's what you perceive outwardly.
Okay.
We're gonna jump back to Cedric real quick. I'm gonna drag you guys to the other scene so you can just sort of follow along. Cedric, what are you doing now?
Okay. So I looked over for
gonna
other
give you a
footprints
token.
leading into the place, the forest.
That's right. And what was your roll on that? Remind me.
Not particularly. 15.
It was a 15. 15 is good enough. I mean, you are druid after all, so certain things and certain experiences your characters have do fudge a lot of these rolls in a certain direction. Now, you don't see any of the more civilized race footprints coming in and out of the forest. Those footprints were more around the campsite, but you see many, many, many orc footprints of different sizes coming out of the forest. So make of it what you will, but that's what you see.
All right. So I will kind of go over here,
Mm-hmm.
and when I
And you're
looked in the
still
tunnel, was
in
there
lizard
light?
form, correct?
Yes, it lasts for 2 hours.
This may not be what you look like, but just for the sake of placeholding, I'm gonna use this for your character for now. I mean,
Close
after all, you are a lizard right now, so whatever.
It doesn't.
Oh, that's right. Lorraine doesn't know. He turned himself into a lizard with some druidic ability and was able to just crawl out of the ship as the orcs were ransacking the ship. And he also
Nice.
saw
Druid thing.
a panicked horse on the beach there going back and forth and whatnot. He actually saw a lot of cool shit, but we'll get to it. You'll find out. You guys can type it to her if you please. Yeah. So what do you do now that you're on that cliffside?
I will just kind of climb down over to here. And when I looked inside earlier, was there any light, or was it just the eyes?
There was like one torch lit, but it was very faint. It was like almost as if somebody tried to put the torch out. You just saw the glowing embers of the torch, barely lighting the inside of that tunnel. And
there
it is
light
still
in there
dark
now?
out. You see the same, just a very faded ember glow, and you still see some light, eyes glowing, reflecting light, moving around in there rapidly. And the voices are even more hushed than before. You hear some hushed whispers in another language. You perceive potentially could be Orcish, but you're not sure. You don't hear any more common tongue. You just hear
That's
hushed voices of a language you're not entirely
Well, that's not very good at all.
fluent in.
So, I'm even going to try to deal with any of that right now.
I need you to make one more perception roll now that you are on this side of the cave entrance.
I can.
Ooh.
Wow, man, you guys are rolling crazy today. So in the stone on the inside of the right side of the cave, now that you're looking from this angle, you see a singular eye carved into the stone, almost as if it's a symbol that means something, but you don't know what. But it's a singular eye, and it was carved with fine tools, the hands of an artist.
Is it just dim light or is it pitch black inside of the immediate area around?
It is. So you're human, right? So you don't have dark vision,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah, I don't have dark.
So all you see is the faint glow of what you
Oh, wait.
perceive to be embers of a torch, and you
Lizards
see
have dark vision up to feet.
up to how many feet your mic cut?
30 feet.
Okay. So you still can't see all the way through the cave. You just see running water. You see eyes that are flickering and glowing and moving about. They don't seem to be fixated on you. They don't perceivably see you. And you do see the glowing embers of a torch. And you see some stonework in there that's not just natural cave. It looks almost like stone tiles and stone steps. But you can't see much from where you are.
Okay. Is it gonna go terribly or
Is what?
nothing's gonna happen? But I'm gonna kind of climb inside. Just kind of stay along the wall.
Okay. We're gonna jump to the other scene now, and then we'll see what happens to you. In a second. I love saying that because then it just sounds like terrible.
So ominous.
Ricky is currently
super
AFK.
ominous.
but-
That's fine. We're gonna do. Let's see. We're gonna do Lorian's turn.
Oh, all right. Let's see. I ask her, can you sail the ship?
So halfway through your sentence, you hear Kurdu scream at the top of his lungs, "Close the sails! Land!" he says.
Oh shit!
And you guys
And-
are going pretty much top speed. The winds are still whipping, even though
And
the
somebody
rain is letting
fucking
up.
somebody sent the fucking crew below decks, didn't they?
Not below deck. They're in the